And why the fuck is this chair actually so fucked up? Like, Jesus Christ. Hello, love. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, I'm not going to start it that way. That's honestly awful. Welcome to our weekly cult meeting where we talk about all things art related. And if you haven't subscribed yet to join the cult, please consider. We have a great time over here. Today we're talking about the false belief that fan artists are not real artists, and if you were offended by the intro or me saying that, or the title of this video, please stay. I am a fan artist myself, so I wanted to give my perspective on that statement. Obviously, I will be biased because I am a fan artist, but even if I wasn't, I still think my arguments are pretty valuable and still valid. So there is this belief that real art must be original or conceptual or delivering some sort of message. This is a common message delivered in art school, especially from art teachers, art professors. The reason that a lot of art teachers believe that this is problematic is because of the fact that it uses existing original concepts or artworks as inspiration. But it's important to remind ourselves that every artist starts from using inspiration from others. My art teacher was one of those people that said that your artwork has to be derived from your own concepts and originality, and that fan art is not accepted in her classroom. And I just completely disagree with that. Because, let me tell you, the thing is, when you think about it, technically, Renaissance artists, any of the artists that became popular during the Renaissance period, were kind of creating fan art of Jesus and religious concepts in general. So why is it suddenly unacceptable to create artwork from a fan perspective of certain fandoms? Why people make fan art, or at least why I make fan art. So first of all, connection. Being a part of a fandom obviously is a very inclusive and community driven experience where it's about celebrating characters and stories that mean something to each of us, and therefore provides the opportunity for connection with other artists, and not only other artists, but just other members of that community. Second of all, it acts as a learning tool just based on the fact that it helps you improve faster by focusing on the minute details of artwork, of creating an artwork, such as lighting, anatomy, or emotion, instead of focusing on creating something, some sort of character, some sort of imaginative or imagination-driven creature, and then having to focus on the skills of lighting, anatomy, or emotion from scratch. So I feel like being a fan artist gives you that benefit or that advantage of you only have to focus on recreating that character rather than creating a character initially in order to practice those elements of artistic ability or artistic creation. When you reimagine a character, it's not that you're copying, you're interpreting that character as you see it. And that is creativity. Showing your interpretation of a character or showing your representation of a certain character or fandom is using your creativity from your own experiences, how you perceive that character. So I feel like the main argument made by art teachers and art schools in general is that you're just copying someone else's concept, but that's not true. You are creating your own artwork based on the characteristics of another person's creation of a character in order to, number one, create connection, be a part of a community, and number two, practice fundamental skills of artistic creation and drawing and painting, and you get my point. I find that people who say fan artists aren't real artists often forget that all art builds on pre-existing ideas. So, for example, the collection. Okay, if you create a character, for example, that character is derived from the collection of your experiences and beliefs and things that you've seen previously, all put into one, or not all of that put together, but it is some form of collection of things that you have seen previously. You cannot just derive original concepts from nothing. It comes from some sort of experience that you've had or things that you've seen prior. And so saying that fan art is not real art is so hypocritical, in my opinion. Gatekeeping hurts newer creators who could grow into amazing artists if they weren't ashamed of what they love. This message in general is just harmful because that's what got me into art in the first place, is the fact that I was into these different fandoms of Five Nights at Freddy's and My Little Pony and anything of that sort. That's where most of my art came from. And so telling artists in general, and if beginner artists in particular hear this message, they might feel discouraged from creating art because the main inspiration for me personally that got me into creating art and got me to this point, like 10 years later basically, was fan art and is what got me into it in the first place. Now, once again, this is harmful because many artists internalize it and feel like their art doesn't count if it's based on a fandom. And honestly, this mindset fuels imposter syndrome because it's like, am I even worthy of posting this artwork online because it's based on some other fandom or some other person's creative idea of a character? Fan art is valid. It's art made from love, emotion, connection, and nostalgia. And many professional artists started with fan art, and some still do it because it's fun. It's fun to recreate these characters in your own interpretation. It's fun to use these characters or these fandoms as inspiration to create your own perception of said character or fandom. Honestly, I feel like in general, as an artist, you should ignore other people's criticisms to an extent if you are receiving criticism from someone who you trust has a valid opinion and has experience in creating art. Then look at their opinion, look at their criticism, and consider whether or not it's valid and whether it applies to you, or whether it's just a biased opinion. In general, I think it's harmful to let others define what makes you a real artist. And I hope that any of you watching have not heard that criticism and taken it to heart and decided, okay, yeah, I need to make my own characters. In order to be a real artist, I need to create my own concepts, and that's the only way that I can make art that is worthy. Fan art is just as worthy, in my opinion. So if that's what makes you happy and it helps you improve and it helps you create art that you feel passionate about and that you feel is conveying your emotion through said artwork and connects you to others, then that's, I think, what defines artwork. And saying that fan art is not real art is just harmful. And if you are one of the people that says that, shut up. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Actually, no, I'm not. This is my opinion. That's why you're watching my channel. And if you enjoyed, like. If you did not enjoy, dislike. And comment why you did not enjoy. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.